Hey, let's take a trip around the curve. Producers and scheduled area standard contract house with the hot seat and no deal yet, but negotiations will continue as they shift back to bargaining on a Hollywood agreement this week. John Daly's limited series in the work from Village Roadshow with Kevin James tapped to play iconic golfer. Jason George is returning to the cast of Grey's Anatomy after the end of Station 19. Barry Keoghan is in talks to join the Amazon MGM Studios adaptation of Don Winslow's Crime 101. Aubrey Plaza and Joe Wingard animated series Kevin has been ordered by Prime Video. And Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Daniel Craig, Glenn Close, Andrew Scott, and Kerry Washington are the latest additions to Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery ensemble. Susan Sarandon, William H. Macy, and Marsha Cross are set to star in the indie Exit Right. Judy Greer and Sophia Lillis are set to star in dark comedy Night's Camp for Scythia Films and Good Question Media. A24 dates fall and holiday slate with The Front Room, A Different Man, We Live in Time, Heretic, and Baby Girl. The Underveil animated series is set at Netflix from creator Matt Roller and EP Dan Harmon. Netflix also greenlights next iteration of Life on Our Planet series with narrator Morgan Freeman and executive producer Steven Spielberg. Sharon Stone signs with Independent Artist Group, and Mike Flanagan is set to direct Radical New Take on Exorcist for Blumhouse and Morgan Creek. Sean Rodriguez Marquette, Diana Maria Riva, and Kimia Beporminia join ABC comedy pilot Forgive and Forget. Kadeem Hardison joins Ed Brubaker's Prime Video series Criminal as a series regular. John Benjamin Hickey leads the cast of a marching band pilot ordered by Amazon from Daniel Barnes. Isla Fisher and Nico Parker are among the new additions to Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy, as 9 are set to return. Anatomy of a Fall star Sandra Hüller is set to co-star opposite Ryan Gosling in Project Hail Mary adaptation for Amazon MGM, and Mariana Trevino is set to star opposite Owen Wilson in the Apple golf comedy series. Nicholas Galitzine is to play He-Man in Amazon MGM and Mattel's Masters of the Universe. Months after KMR's talent payment breakdown, clients are still waiting for their money. I'll keep you posted on that one. Michael Urie is joining Sutton Foster in the Broadway revival Once Upon a Mattress. Amazon MGM acquires documentary Hollywood ending on actor-turned-Ponzi schemer Zachary Horowitz. Adria Arjona is set to star in Ed Brubaker's Prime Video series Criminal, and Steve Lightfoot is developing the String Diaries TV adaptation with Geek Girl producer Ruby Rock and Sony Studios. Dungeons & Dragons live-action series is not moving forward at Paramount Plus, and Chris Hemsworth is in talks to star in Paramount and Hasbro's Transformers / G.I. Joe crossover movie. And curtains up, Audra McDonald is taking Rose's turn in Broadway's Gypsy revival. Coming up next on The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, it is Pride Month, y'all. Happy Pride Month. I'll give you some films to watch in that regard. I'm going to review Dakota Johnson's new film, Am I Okay? Plus, we're going to talk to the director of Robot Dreams, Mr. Pablo Berger. And we're also going to get into Daisy Ridley and Young Woman in the Sea. Coming up next on The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata right now.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
This is Carla Renata, a.k.a. The Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve. Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, a.k.a. The Curvy Film Critic. Happy Pride. Look at all the colors I have on the screen. Happy Pride, y'all. The gay community, the LGBTQ plus community has always been very, very supportive of me my entire career, whether I was acting or whether I was a film critic. So I would be remiss and not giving them some love today. If this is your first time joining me, I am Carla Renata, the host of The Curvy Critic with who? Carla Renata. And I've come on a little bit early today, so I know some of y'all gonna catch it later, but I'm running over to Pasadena to catch my former castmate from Heart of Dixie in their production of Jelly's Last Jam. So I thought I'd come on now and give y'all a little love now. So if this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up to let me know you were here. If you were on YouTube, if you were watching this via LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, welcome. Happy to have you, and let's get into it. Now, last week, let me just put my Happy Pride Month up again. Happy Pride Month. Hey, hey. So speaking of Pride Month, in 2014, I saw a movie that was called Pride. It's now available to stream on Peacock if you have a subscription, as well as Apple TV Plus and Prime Video. But this film stars some of my favorite actors, Bill Nye, Andrew Scott, Dominic West, Imelda Staunton. And basically, this film deals with realizing that all these people share common foes in Margaret Thatcher. The police, the conservative press, and London-based gay and lesbian activists lend their support to striking miners in 1984 Wales. I saw this film back in 2014 and I reviewed it then, and it really struck me because my cousin Arthur and my uncle Cedric both died from AIDS. And at the time, AIDS was in 1984, AIDS was, people were dropping like flies. They were going like this. And folk had very definitive views about what they thought that was. People were so ignorant, and it was believed that if you had any kind of contact with someone, simply being in the same room with somebody that was gay, or breathing the same air as them, that somehow you would contract and get diagnosed with the disease. And it had a stigma, particularly with the queer community. So in the summer of 1984 in the UK, Margaret Thatcher was in power, and a group of gay activists got together and formed an organization called LGSM, Lesbians and Gays Support the Miners, raising money to support the families of miners during the lengthy strike of the National Union of Mine Workers. But there was a problem. So the union seemed embarrassed to receive the money and receive the support. Why? Because it was coming from a gay organization and it was assumed to be riddled with AIDS. So that brings me to this. I resonated with this film because I know what it feels like to be different. I'm different for the simple fact that I'm a woman and that I'm Black. and that I have, a variety of different natural hairstyles, I'm considered different. And sometimes there is vitriol and prejudice that comes associated with that. So I identify very strongly with the queer community for those reasons, and for the reasons that, I just need for us to, at the end of the day, so let me just say this. So in the course of this film, um, there was somebody that was quoted as, his name was David Miner, and he was a miner um, in the UK. And he said, "You have worn our badge, and you know what harassment means. Now we will pin your badge on us. We will support you. It won't change overnight. But now 140,000 minors know that there are other causes and other problems. We know about blacks and gays and nuclear disarmament, and we will still never be the same." I just want it to be, this movie not only deals with the issues of gay acceptance in the UK, but it touches upon the prejudices that surround the gay community. And I just want us to be in a world where I look forward to the day where we're not we're viewed as human beings, not gay human beings, not black human beings, not brown human beings, not Asian human beings, not transgender human beings, just freaking human. So, in honor of Pride Month, I would be remiss in not bringing that film to your attention, because it's one that is not talked about when we get to Pride Month. There's a whole lot of other films like Milk and some other ones that people talk about all the time. But I wanted to bring Pride to your attention. Again, this film right here is streaming via Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Prime Video if you have a subscription. So let me get into what I did last week. Last week, Netflix had an FYC 24 symposium around documentaries, and they went into all of them, honey. They went into, and I realized I'd seen all of them. They went into The Greatest Night of Pop. They went into the Arnold documentary, Chris Rock's documentary where he addressed the slap, Sylvester Stallone's documentary, the Wham documentary. They went into Our Planet 2. They went into Escaping Twin Flames, and they went into one of my favorite documentaries of all time, which is a docu-series. It's called High on the Hog. If you have not seen it, it is streaming on Netflix right now. It is a series that has been curated specifically around African American food and how that food ties into our culture, and how some of the foods that we know and love in the African American community come from our culture, going all the way back to Benin in Africa. So check out High on the Hog, Arnold, Sly, all of those documentaries. But I would be remiss in saying I ran into my good girlfriend Laura. Look at her. Look at that sweet little face. I love her so much. She is the sweetest person ever. Next week, if you are in Los Angeles, next Saturday, June 8th, at the Grammy Museum, my good girlfriend Deanna Williams is hosting a conversation with filmmaker Lisa Cortez, where they are going to show her film Little Richard, I Am Everything at 12:30, and then her and Lisa are going to have a conversation called Black Music, Past, Present, Future, Hard, I Am Everything. So it's going to be down at the Grammy Museum. If it's sponsored by AFCA, if you want to RSVP to that event, the RSVP time has passed, but you never know. Just go over to afca.com and see if you could possibly get in. The RSVPs go pretty fast for those types of events. So I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time that that is coming up. Am I Okay? Am I Okay is this film that I saw that I really kind of dug for a variety of reasons. It's coming up June 6th on Max. It's co-directed by Tig Notaro, and it stars Dakota Johnson, Kiersey Clemens, Tig Notaro, Sean Hayes, and Jermaine Fowler. And basically, it deals with Lucy and Jane, who have been best friends for most of their lives. And they think they know everything there is to know about each other. But when Jane announces that she's moving to London, Lucy reveals a long held secret. As Jane tries to help Lucy, their friendship gets a little funky. Now, this is what I'll tell you about this film, which I thought was really interesting. I, this is the thing. So I'm gonna come back on camera. This is the thing about films like this. Am I Okay is a film where it's like the friends, we weren't sure in the beginning if they were going to be friends, if they were going to be lovers, and then you know it's just very interesting how in this society even now queer people feel some kind of way about coming out because they're not sure how they're going to be perceived. They're not sure if their friends will still be their friends and if their friends will accept them for who they are. And in this film, Lucy's trying to figure out, is she gay? Is she straight? Why did it take her so long to figure out who she is? Baby, the funniest thing in the whole film was when Dakota Johnson, who plays Lucy, her friends were trying to hook her up with this dude, and they end up being in her apartment by themselves. And he tries to make a move on her, and she literally repels against him and falls off the side of the bed with a beer, with a bottle of beer in her hand. I hollered. I was like, "Ooh, she really does not like men." And that's it. If you feel in your quote, we have a thing called intuition. If your intuition is telling you that something is drastically wrong, you need to listen to it. And if your intuition is telling you you don't like men or you don't like women, whichever the case may be, listen to that and lean into it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just who you are at your core. In the interim of this film, Lucy becomes attracted to this girl named Brittany, and Brittany acts like a dude. Brittany was like, she did a hit or run and was like, deuces, I'll see you later, and left Lucy all up in her feelings. And then somehow, in the midst of this, her friend Jane they end up falling out. Jane gets a job in another city, and it just becomes this whole thing. And what it really does is it's a film that focuses on being vulnerable and putting yourself out there and how scary that can be and how humiliating that process can be and how dismissive it is when somebody gives you that forehead kiss. Haven't you gotten that forehead kiss and you're like, excuse me, don't be kissing me on my forehead. But when both of their lives blow up at the same time, her fiance, Jane's fiance, leaves, and and her one nighter moves, and Lucy's one nighter, Brittany, moves to Portland. It's like, oh no, what am I going to do? So they end up going to some hammock sanctuary, which that scene in itself is just hilarious all by itself. And then I learned that and there was a dating app for lesbians. Like, it's just a lot going on, but it's very revealing. And again, it leans into what being vulnerable and being putting yourself out there can do, and how all of those things aren't a wrong thing. It's a great thing. Before I get into the next film, let me check out my comments. My boy Brandon stopped by as usual. He said he's seen Robot Dreams is fantastic, and there's a new Loud House movie coming out called No Time to Spy this month, and Inside Out 2. I will be seeing Inside Out 2. I've seen Robot Dreams. I have the director of Robot Dreams with me here today, so we will get into all of that. All righty then. So let's talk a little bit about Young Woman and the Sea. I loved this movie so, so, so much. I'm a huge, huge, huge Daisy Ridley fan. And she did her thing with this one. She really, really did. This film is on Disney Plus right now. And Daisy Ridley stars as the accomplished swimmer Trudy Ederle, who was born to immigrant parents. Something's wrong with my mouth today. Immigrant parents in New York City in 1905, and through the support of her older sister and her trainers, she overcame adversity and the animosity of a patriarchal society to rise through the ranks of the Olympic swimming team and complete the staggering achievement, a 21-mile trek from France to England. It stars Ridley, Tilda Cobham-hervey, Stephen Graham, and a lot of other people. It's directed by Joachim Roning, and it's written by Jeff Nathanson, and it's based on the book Young Woman in the Sea: How Trudy Ederle Conquered the English Channel and Inspired the World by Glenn Stout. When I went to the screening of this film, I told you I went to the screening of this a couple of weeks ago. So when I went to the screening a couple of weeks ago, as one does at the movie theater, I went to the bathroom, and I go to the bathroom and there's all these, excuse me, my nose is itching. I go to the bathroom and there's all these women with these Olympic jackets on. And I realized that the studio had invited a team of women athletes, some of whom had won Olympic medals. There was this one chick there, I can't remember her name, but she is this white girl and she's pregnant right now, but she won a medal for bobsledding. which was hilarious to me because she didn't live anywhere near where they actually do bobsledding. So she had to go someplace else to do it, but they were in the bathroom talking about it. Anywho, I digress. This is what's great about this film. Now, last year we had that film called Naiad, where Annette Bening played Diane Naiad, and she did her trek from England to France. This one is from, what they say, from France to England, and it was 21 miles, and I think Naiad did 22 miles or something like that. And Diana Nyad was there that night, so I got to meet her and talk to her about that film. But back to Young Woman and the Sea. Young Woman in the Sea, Daisy Ridley is on that screen 3/4 of the time. I can't even imagine how daunting of a filming shoot this was for her, but she does it. But it mostly brings to light the fact that even then, even at that time in 1905, women weren't allowed to swim in a pool with men. Women weren't allowed to train with men. Women weren't even barely allowed to be in the Olympics with men. And the trainers would purposely sabotage them. Ederle's trainer sabotaged her by giving her, he put some Dramamine in some tea that he gave her, and it made her nod out, and so she wasn't able to do it. So she got rid of him and went back in the water and did it, swimming through jellyfish and all this stuff. Child, it was a lot, but it was a very inspirational film, and it's one of the best films of the year in my opinion. It was very well shot. It was very well directed. It was very um, well written. Is just, I can't say enough positive things about it. And Daisy Ridley is a freaking star. She commands that film from the moment it starts to the moment it ends. And Tilda as her sister, like it's just, oh, the whole cast is just fantabulous. So if you have not seen it on Disney Plus, it's called Young Woman and the Sea, and it is streaming on Disney Plus right now. I have a review that's going up of Haiku, the anime feature. I'm not going to review that here because I need to write it up, but look for my review there. And as usual, everything that I write about here is always going to be seen right there at thecurvyfilmcritic.com and via Rotten Tomatoes. But I'll let that roll through for you so that you can keep abreast of that as I'm talking. So this film that I saw that I absolutely loved is called Robot Dreams. This film is so much fun, y'all. I love it so much. It's directed by Pablo Berger, and I talked to him about it. So I'm gonna, without further ado, I'm gonna let you listen, take a look and a listen to this interview that we did together. And then I'll come back and talk about the film and tell you what I have coming up in the next few weeks.
Hi, Carla. How are you?
I am good. Let me tell you something. When I watched your film, was a little verklempt at the end. I was like, oh no, why am I crying at an animated musical? I was beside myself.
I made it for you. I made it for you. I think it's important that you get that roller coaster emotional ride. And I think tears can be a joy too, your joyful tears.
They were, that's a great way to say it. They were joyful tears. And this was, there was another film I saw a little while ago, like maybe 2 years ago. It was called Memoria, and it starred Tilda Swinton, and it was a audio-centric film where the whole film was reliant upon your sensory, your sounds. There was no dialogue. It was in black and white. It was a trip. And immediately when I watched Robot Dreams, I thought about Memoria. And so I wanted to know, what was it that made you want to make this an audio-centric animated musical? Because I've never seen that before.
Wow, that's so interesting. I didn't know the film.
Oh.
But Memoria, in Spanish means remember.
Yes.
And this film for me, Robot Dream, is about memory. And the main theme is September of Earth, Wind and Fire, and it starts, do you remember the 21st night of September? So
yes.
So hello, memory is the main thing about this film. And a word that you use that is one of my favorite is sensorial. I think cinema has to be sensorial. doesn't have to, the intellectual has to be after the film finishes when you talk about the film. But when you watch a film, you have to have your, your protection down, and you have to let yourself go and feel. So you're a sensitive person, Carla, because
Clearly.
you go for the emotional ride, and you're my kind of audience, so that's the kind of film I like to make. And I think when you make a film like Robot Dream, that is, you can call it a musical, you can call it a sensorial experience, but it's different from what you call a dialogue oriented film. It has a different code. I would say it's closer to ballet, to music concerts, to opera. It's another thing. I think a dialogue free film is another. I'm happy that you connect with this film Memoria that I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you will love that film. It was everything, and I was so sad that it didn't get more attention and love when it came out at the time. But I think it's a cinematic masterpiece myself. I really do. It was great. Um, which brings me to this. I know that you are a huge fan of Sarah Varon's graphic novel. So why and mostly in her illustrations, because they deal with animals that have human behavior, right? So and where New York is a constant, which is the same thing here. And I wanted to know, what is it about her work that resonates so strongly with you as a filmmaker?
The first book I read from Sarah Baron was Robot Dreams. That's her most popular book. She has published probably 15 books. They're always in New York Times list. She's a very well known. And it's funny that she's been very coherent in her career. All her books, they're anthropomorphic, she even make like anthropomorphic cupcakes and food, eggplants that they can be behave like humans. So it really, her work is anthropomorphic, never use human beings, and New York is in the background. What she has a unique touch as an artist. There's a simplicity. It's a kind of drawing that embraces you, and she has a terrific sense of humor. There's some kind of sense of humor, and there's emotional element, and I think emotion and humor, I think, is the perfect combination. So I think that was in Robot Dreams, and in Robot Dreams, it has most of the most powerful endings I ever read in my life. There's something about the end of her graphic novel that it moved me so deeply. I cried like a baby. I never cried with reading a graphic novel. And I said, "What's happening here?" And when that happened to me, I said, "Okay, I never thought about making an animated movie. If I want to tell the story of Sarah Baron, anthropomorphic animals, I have to make an animated film." And this is my fourth film, and never even once in my life I thought I was going to make an animated film. So it's the story. Sarah Baron's stories are fantastic.
Well, you did that. You did that and then some, which brings me to this. When you talked about being your fourth film, and I read that you said that you try to make each of your films a journey to the unknown. What was unknown for you about Robot Dreams?
Especially the technique of animation, definitely was completely unknown. I didn't know anything about the process of animation. I didn't study animation. I never thought about making animated films. So that was the unknown. And also the fact that it was going to be such a long journey. When you make a live action film, the shooting is 2 months. In an animated film, the shooting, if you talk about working with the animators, is 2 years and a half. So it really is endurance. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to be focused for such a long time. And I think the journey about becoming an animation director, working with animators like they were actors, and the length of the project, that was a big challenge. But luckily, we succeeded, and the film is out.
Of it with the music. So I noticed that there was everything from like this little Charlie Brown-esque kind of
Yes,
theme
right.
at the beginning to Earth, Wind, and Fire. So what was the thought process in trying to encompass all of those different sounds within the film?
So the soundtrack of Alfonso Villayonga with this kind of like beautiful melodies with the piano, a small quartet, jazzy, melodic jazz, that was key. Robot Dreams, we can say, is a musical. When there is no dialogue, the voices is the music.
The voices is the music. That's deep, Pablo. You getting deep on me why are you getting deep on me toward the end of the conversation?
No, I made it for you. Carla, I have a feeling I made you really, because directors, when you finish the film, it's like when I have a daughter that is 20. When she became 18, she's gone. So when I finish a film, it's like it's gone, it's yours. So I love that you saw Robot Dreams and you make it yours. So it's great.
I love that. And closing it out, I just wanted to know, since you've done animation and you challenge yourself with each one of your projects, what's the thing that you want to challenge yourself with going into next?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know yet. What am I going to do next? And all my films are like a little bit like an alien that comes from the inside. It has to be something. I don't know maybe the metaphor, maybe that alien is like maybe a baby. I'm a mother, if I would be a mother and the director is the mother, it's like a baby. So it has to be a desired baby. And I don't know. I want to surprise myself.
I love that.
Could be animation. I don't know. Or live action or documentary. I don't know.
I love that. I'm sure whatever it is going to be fantabulous, because your work is stellar, and it makes you think, and it makes you watch, and it makes you focus. And that's what I love about cinema, is that each person and each project that they do brings a different sensibility to it that makes you pay attention. And you definitely made me pay attention with Robot Dreams. So thank you so much, Pablo.
Thank you, Carla. I want you to watch a movie that I made 10 years ago that opened in the States called Blancanieves.
Okay.
I think it was 2013, 2012. Cohen Media released it. I think you're going to love it. I have a feeling. Blancanieves.
Are you on social media?
No, I'm like old school.
You're old school. I will watch it, and I'll send a note to Ginsberg maybe to tell you what I think.
It doesn't have dialogue either.
I love that.
It's like a sensorial experience. So please watch it, and I want to know what you think about it.
I will do that. I promise you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, Pablo. This has been great. I enjoyed talking to you.
You too.
All right. So you guys, Pablo was really quite lovely. I really, really enjoyed speaking with him. Now, let me tell you what Robot Dreams is about. Robot Dreams is in theaters right now. And like I said to him, I love the attention to detail that they pay in this. This film is audiocentric. And what that means is there is no dialogue. There's no dialogue and a little bit of music. But it is an absolute joy to watch. And this is what it deals with. So Dog lives in Manhattan, and he's tired of being alone. So one day he decides he's going to build himself a companion robot, and their friendship blossoms. They become inseparable, and they are, digging the rhythm of 80s New York. And then one summer night, Dog, with great sadness, is forced to abandon Robot at the beach. And so the question lies in, will they ever meet again? So this is the situation. Every street, every apartment, the whole New York street sound thing, Pablo absolutely nails it. There's this like Charlie Brown-esque music happening, and then they get into Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. If you're not familiar with that song, do you remember the 21st day, September, right? Written by Allie Willis, who also is one of the co-writers for the music of the Color Purple musical. Are you with me? Cool. All right. There's no dialogue, like I said. One of my favorite parts is them dancing in the park to September. It is a highlight of the film. Is so great. They got on skates and they're like jamming. The dog and the robot, they are getting down there twirling. They're doing this thing, where you hold somebody's hand and you kind of go in a circle. Child, it was everything. There's like a little Spike Lee character on the train. He gets the subway sounds. There's this using of arrangements where of September where we hear them in the park, and then they do another arrangement of it where it sounds like it's underwater, and it's freaking brilliant. We see them playing paddleball. We see like the Strand bookstore. If you don't know what the Strand bookstore is, if you live in New York City, you know what the Strand bookstore is. We see them in Coney Island, and that's when they get to Coney Island is when things kind of go left, and Dog ends up having to leave Robot on the beach. And the things that happen to Robot on this beach are crazy. We see all of the seasons change. We see Robot dreaming of getting back together with Dog. We see Mama Bird doing wing drills with her robots on the robot while they're singing for the robot what sounds like Danny Boy. I'm not sure if that's what it was, but that's what it sounded like. We see all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, this is a film about friendship, what friendship looks like. And this is the thing, when you are friends with somebody, you may not talk to them every day, you may not see them every day. But if y'all are truly, truly friends, the friendship endures no matter how many times you do or do not see them, no matter how many times y'all may fall out, the friendship endures if it's a real friendship. And that is the real gist of Robot Dreams. It was beautifully done. It caught me by surprise at the end, and I did cry. Like I boo-hooed. Boo-hooed what Pablo likes to call joyful tears. But again, it is called Robot Dreams. Please, y'all, do yourselves a favor and be uplifted and be joyful by supporting this film. It In the world that we're living in and the times that we are dealing with right now, this is a welcome distraction from the craziness. And really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. All right, let's get into these comments. Let's see. Brandon says, yes, it was nominated for Best Animated Movie. And you've seen director interviews of Robot Dreams in your animation classes. Oh, that's cool. I would love to know what he said in some of the other interviews, but I love this film so much. All right, so next week, I will be taking a little trip to Disneyland. But while I am there, I may pre-tape this and put it up, but these are the films that I'll be coming back to talk about when I come back next week. We're going to do a little Inside Out action. We're going to talk about that because that's coming up. We're going to talk about Ghostlight. We're going to talk about Firebrand. We're going to talk about Kinds of Kindness. We're going to talk about Janet Planet. That film was crazy as hell. I can't wait to talk to y'all about that one. And then, of course, the film that everybody is waiting to see is Bad Boys, the fourth one. I think it's called Bad Boys Ride or Die with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. And this is Will Smith's, I think it's his first film that's come out since the incident. So, but hey, if you're a Will Smith fan, you're a Will Smith fan. If you ain't, you ain't. But I'm on the Will Smith, Martin Lawrence train. So there you have it. So that is what we're going to talk about. Just as a reminder, it is Happy Pride Month. So I will be flip-flopping with every episode in the month of June between Pride and Music Month. Again, if you are in town in Los Angeles, please check out this special event at the Grammy Museum in downtown Los Angeles. We talked about Daisy Ridley and her film Young Woman and the Sea, which is streaming on Disney Plus. We also talked about my favorite, Robot Dreams, and Am I Okay, which is in theaters right now. All right, you guys, that was a quick one. I know it was quick because I got someplace to go. I got places to go and people to see, honey. But who's talking to me? It's wonderful to see you. It's wonderful to see you get excited. Yeah, this is the thing. I love movies. And like I said last week with my interview with Janelle English, who is all about the diversity and the inclusion in Hollywood. I love movies. And so yeah, it's the summertime. This is the time to get excited about some films. We wanna see some films, some other films before I go. Some other films that are coming up are, there's a documentary coming up about Celine Dion. A Quiet Place Day One is coming out. Horizon, an American Saga, the Kevin Costner joint. Daddy-O. Let me see what else I got on this list that we can talk about when I come back. And Sing Sing, Coleman Domingo's new film, Despicable Four, and some other things that I can't talk about right now. But yeah, I love that. Let me see. What else is this? My nose is itching. Yeah, I know you love the animated films. All right, you guys. So again, let me just remind you, in the next coming weeks, we are going to be talking about these films. I will run through them again: Inside Out 2, Ghostlight, Firebrand, Kinds of Kindness, Janet Planet, and next week we're going to get into Bad Boys 4. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? I just love doing that. And then I like doing the little Martin Lawrence thing where he can't never get the lyrics right. That makes me laugh out loud. Anywho, that's it for this episode of The Curvy Critic with Carla Nada. I'll see y'all next week on June 9th when we're talking about Bad Boys 4, Ride or Die. And until then, love, peace, and hair grease. Until the next time. Deuces.